Welcome back to Cyber in Practice. In this episode, we'll explore file integrity monitoring. We'll see how security teams use trusted baselines, SHA-256 hashes, and automated monitoring to detect unauthorized changes to critical files. By the end, you'll understand how file integrity alerts support real-world security investigations. What is file integrity monitoring? File integrity monitoring is a process of verifying that important files remain in a trusted and approved state. It works by creating a baseline of known good files and then comparing those files over time to detect unexpected changes. If the modification is identified, the monitoring system can generate an alert allowing security teams to investigate and determine whether the change was authorized. In simple terms, file integrity monitoring helps organizations quickly identify changes that could indicate security issues. Why file integrity monitoring matters. File integrity monitoring is important because many security incidents involve unauthorized changes to files. Attackers may modify system configuration, alter application files, or introduce malicious code to achieve their objective. It also helps organizations identify accidental changes, policy violations, and configuration drift that can occur over time. By continuously validating critical files, file integrity monitoring provides visibility to changes that could impact the security operation. Before we begin the demonstration, let's review a few key concepts. We'll start by creating a trusted baseline using SHA-256 hashes, which acts as a digital fingerprint for our files. We'll then compare current file hashes against a baseline to verify integrity. If a file changes, the monitoring process can detect the difference and generate an alert for investigation. These are the same fundamental concepts security teams use to identify unauthorized modification and validate integrity. For today's demonstration, we'll establish a trusted baseline, generate SHA-256 hashes, and use an automated monitoring script to verify file integrity. We'll then simulate an unauthorized file modification, rerun the monitoring process, and investigate the result and alerts. This will allow us to see how security teams detect, validate, and respond to unexpected file changes in real-world environments. With those objectives in mind, let's move into the demonstration. Now let's move into the hands-on portion of this demonstration. We'll introduce a modification, trigger an alert, and investigate the results to see how file integrity monitoring works in practice. Let's get started. Let's move into the demonstration. I'll begin by navigating to the directory and files I created specifically for this demonstration. Here we have a demonstration folder containing several files that represent important business information. These files serve as our monitor assets and will allow us to demonstrate how integrity monitoring detects unauthorized modifications. The first step is establishing a trusted baseline. To accomplish this, I'll generate a SHA-256 hash for each file and export those values into a baseline reference file. A hash functions like a digital footprint. As long as the file remains unchanged, the hash value will remain the same. If the file is modified in any way, even by a single character, the results of the hash value will be completely different. This characteristic makes cryptographic hashes extremely useful in integrity verification. I'll now run the PowerShell command that generates the SHA-256 hashes for our monitor files and export those files into a baseline reference file. At this point, we establish our trusted reference state. This baseline represents the approved condition of the monitor files and serves as the standard against which future comparisons will be performed. The accuracy of this baseline is critical because every future integrity validation depends on it. Now let's discuss the monitoring script. Rather than building a script during the demonstration, I've created one beforehand and saved it within the demonstration environment. This reflects how the integrity monitoring is commonly implemented in real-world environments. Security teams typically deploy monitoring tools and automation in advance, allowing them to focus on analysts rather than manually checking files. The script purpose is straightforward. It calculates current SHA-256 hashes for the monitor files, compare those files against the baseline reference file, and identifies any differences. If everything matches, no alert is generated. If a discrepancy exists, the script reports the file that no longer matches the approved baseline. Let's execute the monitoring script before making any modifications. For demonstrational purposes, I'll modify one of the monitor files. In a real event, similar changes could result from accidental user actions, unauthorized access, insider activity, malware, and policy violations. The goal is to create a measurable difference between the current file state and a trusted baseline. I'll now add content to the monitored file. The modification has been completed. Although the changes appear as minor, it alters the contents of the file and therefore changes the SHA-256 hash byte. From an integrity monitor's perspective, the file is no longer identical to the approved baseline. Now let's rerun the monitoring script. Notice what happened this time? The monitoring process detects a mismatch and immediately identifies that one of the monitor files no longer matches the trusted baseline. Because the file was modified, a SHA-256 hash change triggered an integrity alert. This is how file integrity monitoring helps security teams quickly identify unauthorized changes without manually reviewing every file. The alert provides evidence that file's current state differs from the approved baseline and gives investigators a starting point for determining what changed and whether the modification was authorized. The same process is used in real world environments to support security monitoring, incident response, and compliance activities. Now that we've seen the alert in action, let's connect what we observed to the overall file integrity monitoring workflow. Everything we demonstrated follows a common integrity monitoring workflow used throughout the industry. We begin by establishing a trusted baseline. Next, we monitor files and compare their current state against baseline values. When a file changed, the monitoring process detected the difference and generated an alert. Finally, we investigated the results and validated the findings. This workflow provides organizations with continuous visibility into file integrity and helps identify unauthorized modifications before they become larger security issues. Let's wrap up with a few key takeaways. Trusted baselines establish the approved state of critical files, while SHA-256 hashes provide a reliable way to verify their integrity. File integrity monitoring helps organizations quickly detect unauthorized modifications and generate alerts for investigations. Most importantly, continuously monitoring gives security teams visibility into changes that could impact security, compliance, and overall system integrity. These capabilities make file integrity monitoring an important component of modern defensive security operations.
Thank you for watching Cyber in Practice. If you enjoyed this demonstration, stay tuned for future Cyber in Practice episodes.